Welcome back to the Pioneer Sports Report. This past weekend, UW-Platteville hosted the 2011 Track and Field Championships for the WIAC, and our own Ross Maccabee has more on that.
UW-Platteville hosted the WIAC Track and Field Championships over the weekend, with the Pioneer men placing 5th overall and the women finishing 8th. The Pioneers had some top finishers on the podium from both sides. Ann Tink was second in the 800-meter run in a season-best time of 2 minutes and 10 seconds, improving on her season best by 0.03 of a second. Katura Vangen was second in the 400-meter hurdles with a time of 106.39. For the men, sophomore Aaron Lefersky won the 110-meter hurdles in a time of 14.74 seconds, and he was 8th in the 400-meter hurdles with a time of 56.39. Sophomore Matthew Ziegler was second in the 400-meter dash, and teammate Ben Farrell was 4th. Sophomore Aaron Hughes was 4th in the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash to set a NCAA provisional mark as well as a season best. The last meet for all WIAC teams, including the Pioneers, is on May 26th through the 28th at the NCAA Division III National Championships taking place at Ohio Wesleyan University in Delaware, Ohio. Well, as Pioneer Track and Field finished their season by hosting the WIAC Championships, UW-Platteville hosted the University of Dubuque in their season finale at Kendall Murray Field, and it was a slugfest. The Pioneers played at 6 runs in the first inning and 8 more in the 5th to go on to win 18-13. Tyler Jacobson, Trevor Catre, and Brad Milka each had 4 hits for UW-Platteville, which helped to overshadow Dubuque shortstop Andrew Dana, who hit for the cycle in the loss. The Pioneers had 17 hits in the win, and UW-Platteville head coach Eric Friest used 4 pitchers, including senior Justin Crotty, who pitched 6 1/3 innings with 6 strikeouts to conclude his senior campaign at 4-6. The Pioneers end the regular season 11-29, ending senior pitcher Justin Crotty's career. The Pioneer Sports Report caught up with Crotty to talk to him about his career at UW-Platteville.
All my 4 years here, we improved the last 3, and then this year was a little bit of a struggle, but I think with the young guys on our team, the future looks pretty bright for Pioneer baseball. I definitely learned a lot while I was here about teamwork, leadership, and hard work. And it's something I'll always remember, and I'm proud to be a Pioneer.
Well, there have been a majority of, a plethora of Pioneer highlights this year, and I have Mike Baker and Jordan Hahn here to talk about their personal favorites. And let's start with Jimmy Flannery. What was your personal Pioneer highlight?
Well, I think that the women's basketball finale against UW River Falls, where they got their second conference win of the season and their first, and they had like a 15-game losing streak. And
yeah.
Ashley Wolf went off for over 30 points, and it was just a phenomenal thing for them, for the fans, for everybody involved. It was great, and I just don't think they could have asked for more. The fans could have asked for more. It was a great way to end it.
Yeah, I just remember that place going crazy. I mean, of the fans, all the fans that were left, just everyone got out of their seats after Ashley Wolf just hit 3 after 3 after 3. And who was calling that game? Either of you guys?
I was doing the color, and Eric Prohaska had the play-by-play.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but it was definitely a lot of fun to be there, and for Ashley Wolf that day, it was almost like she was just throwing the ball in the ocean.
Yeah.
What a great way to end off your senior season. I mean, as personally as an individual, she sets a career high, and goes out with a load of confidence.
And Mike, you covered some women's basketball. What did you think about a team, that had that 14-game losing streak and then comes in pretty strong at the end there?
Well, for head coach Megan Wilson, who's in her rookie season as the head coach, it was a great win for her, the kind of build towards the next year, and a kind of a selling point for recruiting in this off-season here. And it's a great step forward for next year, and it's great that the senior Ashley Wolf there could jumpstart hopefully a great future for this basketball team.
All right, and let's move on to Jordan's Pioneer highlight.
Well, there were so many great moments to choose from, I think, but I went with Lee Vlasic when he ended up scoring 5 touchdowns on homecoming. That was Saturday, October 9th of last year, and what a phenomenal game that he had, and not only for the team but as an individual. He's listed at 6 feet, 198 pounds. He's out of Blanchardville. Went to Pecatonica High School. He ended up earning WIAC honors that week, and ran 33 times for 114 yards, and he caught 4 passes for 91 yards. So it was such a great moment, and it's something that I'll personally never forget. Obviously, something that he'll never forget. Pioneers are very lucky to have him back next season for 2 more years.
There's just you can say so much about Lee Vlasic and what he did. I think 6 games, 709 yards, 10 touchdowns. 6 games that he started at running back. And Jimmy, covering some of those games, what stood out to you about Lee Vlasic that made him such a dynamic runner?
His speed. To be perfectly honest with you, everybody, it's easy to pick his brawn and his physical ability.
He does have brawn.
Yeah, how big he is and how strong he is. But when he busts through that pile, he puts on the jets, and it's hard to catch him. I mean, not the fastest guy on the field, but for that size, dangerous when he's that fast. And that's a scary thing when you're a defensive back and you've got 198-pound Lee Vlasic bearing down on you at that rate. I think you're going to think twice about going after him too hard.
And there were some times that he did dispel some wicked stiff arms on some guys too. And
even if it was for 2 yards, he'd run the hardest 2 yards I've ever seen in my life. I know that there was one game, I think it was against River Falls, where he only got like a yard gain, but he stiff-armed about 3 guys in a row, and it was absolutely unbelievable.
Should have been a play for a loss. Probably.
Just the power and strength that this individual has is truly amazing.
The word I would describe the use for him is a dynamic. Like we said, he's a guy that started out as a wide receiver on the team, and when he's in at running back, they'd still every once in a while split him off to receiver, and he'd make a lot of catches in the slot for big plays downfield. So a great player, Lee Vlasic, and glad to have him back for another year or 2.
Yeah, definitely nice. Now, Mike, let's talk a little bit about what your favorite Pioneer highlight was.
Oh, there's a lot of them, but I'm going to go with the Pioneer WIC quarterfinal basketball game against the UW Lacrosse Eagles, and it was just a great game, especially the way their season ended the previous year with a last-second loss to Stout. This time they were able to hold off Lacrosse, and Eric Wall, the senior for the basketball team, really had a big game, as did Nick Allen, the other senior. And it was nice to see them have one last game where they kind of were in the spotlight.
And it was sure nice to see Tony Main, who just kept hitting 3 after 3, and he would just hit them any time with, just hands in his face, to finally see him throwing up at the buzzer and miss it, and they could finally celebrate.
Well, that was just a thing, too, with the Pioneers going into that game. They were saying, let Tony Main be Tony Main. Worry about the other 4 on the court. And Tony Main was Tony Main in that game, hitting 3 after 3. But, at the end, he ended up missing that one, and the Pioneers went out with a win, and then ended up losing to River Falls in that final.
We'll have to see how reliable our sources are, but I did hear he signed a contract to play basketball over in Europe. So,
good player.
Yeah, great season for Tony Main, but this time the Pioneers came out on top.
And it's the other thing that I was going to quickly add in as well is the Pioneers are fortunate to have a great group coming back for next season with Chaz Cross and Eric Gerber at point guard. So those were 2 freshmen that really stood out. Were in the starting 5, and they got them back for next season, which is a big plus for this team. And
what did that mean to that group of seniors? I know you're close with them. What did they kind of say about finally, having a nice little run there to end their careers?
Well, they really enjoyed it. I mean, as seniors, you gotta try and play the best that you possibly can. It's your last time. It's your last shot. This is college basketball. There's nothing after this. And they went out, finished really hard, and as Mike said, that's one of his top moments. That's a top moment, I think, for me as well. That lacrosse game, they played so hard, played tough, and it was a good thing for those seniors and for Coach Gard as well.
Yeah, and a tough way for it to end at the end there. Mm-hmm. Well, it truly has been a pleasure covering Pioneer highlights and just covering Pioneer sports the last 3 years. And as this being our last Pioneer Sports Report, I'd got a lot of people to thank. Obviously, you guys for being here all the time and coming on and giving your 2 cents worth all the time. Obviously, I have to thank the crew that does such a great job. I have to thank my co-host Jimmy Flannery.
Thank you, Ross, for having me on.
Yeah. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Ben Higgins up there right now in the control booth operating everything. The show would not have been what it was without that guy. And I also have to thank our advisor and teacher, Dr. Snyder, for giving me the tools to make this show my own. And, never fear, next year there's going to be some new faces, new content on the Pioneer Sports Report, and I know it'll just continue to get better and better. So from everyone here at the Pioneer Sports Report, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next semester.